line goes.
Okay, so can you tell me about your lifestyle or the lifestyle of the average Kratom or Kava user?
Yeah, so here at Kavakaze we have a very diverse community, and some trends, I guess you could say, is that a lot of people who start to come here on a regular basis decide to pretty much lead more sober lives. They decide that really they don't like alcohol, because compared to kratom, like when you drink alcohol you always have the hangover.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to keep your motor functions or your judgment, and another characteristic about our community is a lot of music. A lot of musicians come in here.
Lots
and
of artists.
And artists in general, yeah. A lot of people use this stuff to help with their inspiration, or just to kind of take the edge off before going into starting a new piece.
Okay.
It's a very healthy community, I guess you could also say, because both of our substances are 0 calories. You know, you could add calories by getting chocolate or putting syrups in it and stuff, but generally they're both very healthy substances, and so we just kind of promote a healthier alternative to the nightlife and to the bar scene. People really dig the fact that they're not going to go home and feel bad, I guess, for consuming our product. They're going to actually feel good. You can come here and just have a really good night, have a lot of fun, drink a lot, and you're going to wake up in the morning feeling great. You're better almost. You get really good sleep as well. So it's a really good alternative, and our culture and the people that come through here, usually you just see a lot of people who are looking to socialize without being in a very abrasive atmosphere. Because that's really what we provide, is this ability to have a cultural exchange in a non-abrasive environment.
And another thing is, with our community, is people are always trying to just start friendships, which is not, you don't really see that a lot in adult life. Like when you're playing on the playground, I remember just literally walking up to people like, hey, do you want to be my friend? And then when you get to college, after that initial freshman year, pretty much everyone has their foundation set, and so you can walk in here any given day, and if there's a spot on the bar, then you sit down there, you take your drink, and within 30 seconds someone's going to ask you, hey, is this your first time? Or just start trying to have a conversation, because stuff really makes you social. It helps you speak. It's a great place for people with social anxiety. Me and Michael had suffered with social anxiety for a very long time, and this place really helped us confront that.
Okay, so my next question, I just want to know, what made you all embark on starting a business and coming into Kavakaze and buying, I guess, your shares of it and becoming partial?
Being around, having a good time, and this was before I was 21, so I couldn't really go into any of the go to proof or anything like that.
Right.
And he told me hey, I heard about this bar. They serve this tea and it gets you high. And I was like, well, no, that's not a thing. There's no way that's legal.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it is. And he brought me here, and I absolutely loved it. And so then I started coming back every day, and just using this place as a good place to study.
Definitely.
And eventually, I decided, I asked James if I could bartend, and at this point Michael started coming too. And then eventually Michael started bartending as well, and then it was just me, Michael, and James wanted to sell the bar, and me and Michael offered that we just buy a portion of it and run it so that it stays in safe hands.
Yeah, it's I guess the whole embarkment was initially Matthew and I, he just said that we were patrons, and we started being bartenders eventually, and we just really found this really deep friendship with James, the owner, and as he was wanting to sell out and go down to South Florida and do his thing, move on, I guess, we really saw what he was doing, and we really appreciated the atmosphere and the culture. We appreciated the patrons, and we appreciated everything that he made, and we really didn't want to see that go to waste. We didn't want to see the wrong person getting into the business and changing it and making the culture, less of what it was, because it had so much potential.
Mm-hmm.
So Matthew and I and James, we sat down and discussed this idea of Matthew and I, buying into the company and running it for him while he went down, and since then, we really got to just grab the the idea of Kavakaze and just make it, and we still haven't reached its full potential. And I don't know if we ever will, because it just has so much potential. But we're really trying, and it's been a hell of a journey.
Well, and now you talk about potential, so and I kind of want to touch on a more important issue that we're dealing with nationwide.
Yeah.
And that is the opioid crisis.
Yeah.
So, what role do you see as Kratom or Kava playing in ameliorating this opioid
I think
crisis that we're in?
I think Kratom, and this is why I think that there's a lot of negative publicity about it. I think Kratom has the ability to completely extinguish the opioid crisis. We have many people who have come through here. Really good friends of mine who were battling their addiction to opiates because their doctors kept prescribing them opiates, and whenever they want to get off, the opiates are so heavy that it's almost impossible. It's like they're signing up for their own funeral. But then they come here and they find Kratom, and Kratom, like I said, is opiate-like in nature, but it's not an opiate. It's not going to bind to those receptors.
Mm-hmm.
But people were able to get off of their addiction. I have one good friend, and he was addicted to Oxycontin, so much so that he was contemplating suicide because he just couldn't do it. He couldn't kick it. And then he found out about Kavakaze. He started coming through, and he was finally able to kick the addiction. He was able to get rid of Oxycontin from his life. He was able to become, just a functional human being. Not that he wasn't before, but he was able to overcome. And that is what Kratom has the potential to do with anyone who's addicted to opiates. And that's not a unique story here at Kavakaze. There's been a lot of times where over the course of the year and a half, or about the year that, year and a half, that I've that I've been bartending is where you meet a regular, you see him every day, and you just get more and more comfortable with that person, and eventually you become friends, and eventually they confide in you, like, hey, I had this really bad addiction when I first started coming here, and the atmosphere that you guys provided, it's very accepting, and allowed me to overcome what I had to go through. And it's not even just the opiate addiction. It's not even just people with addiction in general. We have people who come through here who have crippling social anxiety, or who were so depressed they haven't felt a shred of happiness in months. People who have had chronic pain for years. And they cried because for the first time in years they were able to be pain-free without taking heavy pain relieving medications or opiates. And that goes across, people can come in here, and they don't need to turn to alcohol to take the edge off of the day. They don't have to do really anything that is detrimental to your health when they're here. And that's what we provide, is a place, because Kratom and Kava has so much potential across the board to enrich a human person's life. From an opiate addiction, to depression, to anxiety, to chronic pain. These are all the experiences of patrons at this bar, that they have told us that this is how Kratom has helped me.